Greetings, everybody, and welcome once again to Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, which is my weekly tarot forecast for the signs of the Zodiac. It's arranged by the Elemental Association, so I kind of put all the air signs together and all the water signs together and so on. So let's get started with that. And of course, we have a word of the week for each sign too. So first we're going to start off with our air signs. Air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And their word of the week, let's move that out of the way, is apprenticeship. So this is a word to keep in mind over this next week to hopefully help you with some of the emotional ups and downs, currents, changes that are going on in your life. Apprenticeship means being mentored or looking at somebody as being able to be mentored by that person, hitching your star to somebody who knows more than you, has more talent or skill, and you hope that they will impart that to you. So from that emotional sense of how does this word help you, look around in your dealings with people and put your feelers out there. And I think you may sense that there are certain persons who maybe are just waiting to mentor somebody like you. You know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I'm thinking it's kind of like that. And of course, it may actually be specifically about the kind of emotional situations that are coming for you. So I'm going to get into that right now. So we will go ahead and shuffle our deck here for that. Remember, of course, that tarot readings are for entertainment purposes only. And tarot itself, from the believer's point of view or a tarot reader, it's a snapshot in time. It's intended to tell you what things look like now, possibly give you clues to how you can change those things. And we've done our cut. Let's see what we have. So we have the Hanged Man reversed, the Eight of Discs upright, and then the Ace of Discs reversed. So that's a lot of earth energy there that I'm seeing. So with that ace, let's put those out here. Well, the Hangman reverse was our first card. To me, what this suggests, air signs are going to have a hard time dealing with certain situations that they're not quite ready to change something important or to make a certain compromise or a certain sacrifice. It may be that, I'm not sure exactly how that plays into apprenticeship, but I'm thinking that, of course, it may be about that maybe there is an offer to be mentored or to learn something, but maybe air signs are not quite willing to make that change just yet. What's going on with that? Well, the Eight of Discs itself seems to talk about an apprenticeship itself, the normal meaning of the Eight of Pentacles, coins. So I am wondering if maybe we are starting a project and we are looking for mentoring or something to get involved with a learning process, but there's a reason why it's just not going very well. There seem to be delays, and of course, it typically could be because of the way our economy and many things in our society right now are very stilted and very much on the delay. So I'm wondering if you have to put this off. That's what the sacrifice is, I think, is that you don't want to do it, but this is maybe talking about higher education. And when you talk about air signs, it could be education. It could be definitely, it could be intellectual learning things. So I think what it's telling us is that whether this is an actual bona fide course of study or actual work with a mentor, there may be a delay here. It may also be talking about how you'll have to do new things. Maybe the Ace of Pentacles reversed is really kind of telling us that we can't do this in that more reality way, the earthy way. Maybe we have to consider some virtual ideas there. So that's what I have for you guys. So we're going to move on now. And we are moving on to our fire signs. And fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And your word of the week is uncertainty. That's probably everybody's word of the week right now. Uncertainty. So I want you to keep that in mind, because for you fire signs, this strongly suggests that, as is your nature, things maybe are very transformative at this time, and maybe things are ultimately moving quickly, and there's a lot of energy being expressed for some reason. Even if that's not necessarily the case, consider that word uncertainty as a caution to you that when most things come up that really give you kind of like maybe that gut feeling, you're going to have to think about that and maybe slow down. Slow down, I'm thinking, is what is the ultimate one. So now we're going to go ahead and get your cards. And we're drawing those right now. And we have the Two of Cups upright. We have the Princess of Cups upright. That's a lot of emotional energy, I think. Wow! And then we have the Four of Cups upright. It may be that fire signs, what's uncertain? Maybe fire signs are really close to working out what they want to do in their emotional realms, and yet because of the current situation, there's a lot of uncertainty about how that can really proceed. The Princess of Cups, I think, is telling us to go with your imagination, and I think that's pretty easy for most fire signs. They're highly imaginative signs. Most other signs are too, of course, but sometimes the fire signs can really kind of surprise even me, perhaps. So I'm thinking the Princess of Cups is like the same as the Page of Cups in most rider-based decks, and it's telling us that there's something mystical, philosophical, poetic that we can take from all this, that maybe if we cannot be with the one we love them virtually, to change the lyrics of the old song. With that Four of Cups comes the idea that we really have to think about this a little bit, that there's just so much out there. And maybe that's the problem with some virtual relationships, is because their sense of not exactly being totally real makes them look like it's a kaleidoscope, and maybe it's hard to really focus if you're looking for love in that place. To paraphrase another song, it may be the wrong place unless, of course, that relationship is established. So I'm wondering if these are the kind of relationships that have been mostly, for you fire signs, affected by the various ramifications of COVID. And I'm just thinking that that's where the uncertainty comes in, is that, and I feel this too, it's so hard to feel like you can really express yourself right now. Your true emotion, your true heart, and it's a challenge. But I think that key is that Princess of Cups, the Page of Cups kind of card, is to rely on our intuition and our poetic nature, certainly for the fire signs to kind of rise above this, like that energy firebird that you may be able to be. So that's what we have for the fire signs. And we're going to move on now to the water signs. Water signs are Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces, and they tend to be a little bit more in tune with that emotionality. They may be quicker to be emotional, as opposed to air signs or fire signs that just maybe have a little bit more of that dynamic energy that kind of directs thought more than emotion, certainly for air signs. But for you water signs, your card, your word of the week is the star, which of course is the literal other word, or whatever, most descriptive word for hope, for inspiration, for aspirations, for feeling that right timing and right doing are there, literally, that you could just literally pull them out and manifest them. So we hope that's true for water signs. Keep that in mind. Try to amplify your best aspirations and inspirations. Try to reflect hope. It is not easy for some water signs right now. They can really get down into their depths and cry more, because it's a water sign thing. I know this because I'm a Scorpio, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So we're going to go ahead and cut these and then pull our cards. So what do we have for the water signs? We have, oh dear, we have that Two of Cups again, but this time it's reversed. Well, I can't think of a water sign that wants to see that. We also have an Eight of Swords upright, and also from the Swords deck, a Two of Swords. So right away, that tells me that the hope and being inspired and idealistic is a well-placed word of the week, because those swords seem to be bringing a lot of stress and strife into water signs' lives, possibly. It may very well be that some of our emotional-based water signs are wondering the status of partnerships, important relationships, the harmony and care, even just between any of them, may be a little bit, uneven at now. I won't say it's totally off put, but it just seems to be stressed. Maybe the reasons are, of course, that the Eight of Swords really makes us feel that this confinement we're going through, even though we have some ability to move beyond it, those bonds are not totally tight there, but yet some of that is affecting us. And the Two of Swords, almost as a balance on the other side of the reverse Two of Cups, seems to indicate that there's a lot to do with just holding tight and working this out. And the star maybe is telling us that's what you need to do, is just kind of hold on, work it out, because it really is, kind of rough. The Earth signs. Earth signs, you guys are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Earth signs tend to be less given to shows of emotion. They may have some deep emotions, but sometimes they even may possibly hide them from themselves. Not always. They just tend to be a little bit more level-headed and practical. They are a little more cautious sometimes. Maybe they're willing to go slower. But some of them really enjoy life nonetheless. I cannot emphasize that more, since I know I have good friends amongst all of the Earth signs and am related to some of them. And their word of the week is contrition. So contrition is usually held to be sort of like a plea or a compensation for it's like a penance. It's an act of penance. So it's like trying to appease or trying to rectify possible sins or crimes. I mean, I always remember from being a Catholic in another lifetime ago, the act of contrition. So I'm not, of course, making fun of Catholics, of course, but there is a sense of seeking forgiveness and being willing to be forgiven and being able to forgive others, because I think that's important too. And I know some of you out there that may be listening to this will get that a lot. I appreciate some of the comments I get here from time to time, and for people who are checking it out, I really, really appreciate that. I tend to shoot these up here in the TFT Esoteric Library. Oh yeah, ooh. Anyways, let's get through this reading here, and I'm going to cut those cards. And once again, that was for the Earth signs. So let's do that. We're pulling our 3 cards. And what we have for earth signs are, let's get these out of the way. We have temperance reversed. We have the Six of Wands reversed. And we have the World reversed. Temperance reverse seems to indicate that there must be some reason why we have the contrition there, and it may be that some of you earth signs are really starting to feel, I think, when I'm looking at this, that it's not like you committed a murder or you robbed a bank, but you're feeling a weight of some guilt, or you're feeling the weight of pain, emotional pain. This is an emotional thing of maybe some of you now realize you've hurt, and possibly badly, or that you have just said some things that maybe can be received in a not appropriate light. And so you're wondering about that. You're feeling like something kind of provoked you into this sense of immoderation. You're not normally like that necessarily, but you've been immoderate, and now, of course, you're thinking about the contrition. With that Six of Wands, it may be that what I'm thinking here is, yeah, we're not happy, and maybe it's because we sort of feel that our standing has changed, and that something we really expected to be victorious on or to be in charge of has changed, possibly dramatically. For those who maybe are still dealing with various work situations, this could be something like, even at a simpler level, a simpler kind of business, some sort of reorg where maybe duties, responsibilities are being reassigned, and you may be feeling like you're sort of being left out, or you're not. If you're not being demoted, maybe you're feeling that somehow your value has changed, and so that's bothering you. That's where that temperance reverse is coming for. There's a bit of upset here. You're also taking in the idea of the World reverse, which is that with this whole situation, you really feel like you are, really good at what you do, and yet somehow your evaluation is like you still have work to do. I mean, that's the World reverse, is like there's a perfection still there, and that may be your own personal feeling at this time. Earth signs, you may feel like you just have to go back and work harder. But it is also possible that maybe this is part of what I was seeing there with this possible shake-up. And I do think this is more about work. I only have the Wands there, which are an Enterprise card. But if it applied to other things, then it could just be, related to dominance in other situations. So if we're still involved with either fraternal or other kinds of organizations, it could still be that kind of thing where maybe due to whatever situations, and I'm mostly going to say it's COVID, it's making us change everything, how we regulate and how we divide things up. So it just could be that. Be prepared, I guess, to be able to be contrite about it. Contrite is another word, and contrite may not necessarily mean being forgiving or asking forgiveness, but contrite may mean also to being respectful in certain respects and being appropriate mannered. Words for the wise for everyone, really. That's not just for earth signs. So I'd like to say thank you once again for this opportunity to read for you. Don't forget to check out the live streams that are on Thursday nights and also on Sunday afternoons. This forecast, I probably didn't mention it, is actually good for the week of today, Friday, February 15th through next Thursday. And that's, I can't add anymore. It's the 21st, I guess. So Thursday, May 21st. And it's May 15th through May 21st. Hope you'll watch again. I'm going to leave us with one little image here, and that's Hathor from my cartouche deck. And Hathor is in some ways an Egyptian version or archetype that's similar or represents some of what Venus or Aphrodite did. And of course, that means that it's all about love and the emotions. So this is Oberon once again signing off for the week, and I hope that your emotional energies will be wonderful.